Hello Year 10, welcome to a video where we're going to look at question 1 from the exercise. Okay, so let's recap a bit on stuff from last year. For trig, there's our 3 things to, and it helps to remember. Trigonometry. So all this means, that's just the easy way to remember it, SOHCAHTOA, which in full means the sine of an angle equals the opposite side length over the hypotenuse side length as a fraction. And we just put opposite side length over hypotenuse for short. That's our SOH, cosine. I should put that one, we usually use the shortened version, sine, cos, tan. So for cos, adjacent side length, we just put A for short over hypotenuse side length. And then the tangent one, opposite side length over adjacent side length. This is the key to remembering how to do the rest of the stuff. It's the first step. Okay, so here's the question 1. You have got to do A, C, E, G and I. So I'm going to do some of the ones that you don't have to do. So it gives you the process. And here is the process. And we're going to do question 1b. Just give us 1 minute. I'm just going to get that out of here and put it over here. Here we go. So it's a bit separate. Doing the process. Okay. So step 1, decide sine, cos or tan. So I'm going to do this a long way so you don't have to. Now what we've got here is we've got an angle of 64.3 degrees. Now according to this angle here, well, that looks obvious, see there, because that's opposite the right angle, so that side there's got to be the hypotenuse. H for hypotenuse is 15.8. That's an easy decision. Yep, that's the hypotenuse opposite the right angle. This one here, our M, equals M. We've got to decide whether, well, that's got to be adjacent or opposite. And going by where the angle is, this side here is adjacent, so that one's got to be the opposite. Equals M. Now going by this then, the decision of which one of these 3 has got to be sine, because that's the only one that uses O and H. Yep. So it's got to be sine we've got to use, because we'd have trouble if we picked anything else. So because it's got opposite side there, and that's given us that, the choice is made sine. So that's the first thing you do, going by the evidence, which one of these have we got to use in the question. So now we've decided sine for this one. I think it's the same for E and H. So what do we do now? You can do for E. Okay, 2, write the statement with what we know. Well, the sine of an angle, so let's put our angle, equals opposite on top, which is M, so that's the one we don't know, and on the hypotenuse length on the bottom. There we are, step 2 done. Write the statement with what we know. Okay, then we go to, so that's the angle, sine of the angle equals m, which is the opposite side, over 15.8, the hypotenuse. Now I'm going to rearrange this for the calculator. So I'm just going to multiply by 15.8, which will remove the fraction, and add 15.8 to here. So we got 15.8 times the sine of 64.3, and whatever that is our side length. 15.8 times the sine of 64.3. So I've just basically moved that number there and put it over here next to this one. That's what you're doing. Okay, let's see if we can find a calculator. There we are. So I believe it was 15.8 times the sine of 64.3. Don't need to put any degrees in there. Close the bracket. 15, yep. Actually, you don't really need that times in there. So I'll take it out. That should do it, that's enough. 14.237 and so on. There's our length. 14.237. One decimal place. All right, 14.2. There we go. There's question 1b. You do exactly the same thing with 1e because it's going to assign as well. And I think a couple of others might be signed too. So let's try have a look at another one that you don't have to do, D. Let's move that one. Oh no, we'll leave it there. So that's part B, part D. And now we'll look at the evidence. Where are we? There it is. The evidence, we've got an angle. We've got an opposite side to the angle, and we've got an adjacent. So we have the angle, 18 point, oh sorry, this is different. 18 degrees, 35 minutes. There's our angle. And we've got the opposite side is W, and that's adjacent because it's not the hypotenuse. Adjacent equals 55. Okay, so which one of the sine, cos and tan uses O and A? Oh, it's got to be tangent. Tan. Okay, that's the only one. So it's tan. The tan. So now I'm going to do, now we've decided. Now we write the statement. The tan of 18 degrees and 35 minutes equals opposite over 55. So now we rearrange for the calculator. So that's going to come over here. 55, the tan of 18 degrees, 35 minutes equals W. Yep, okay. 50, yep, it's all good. So remember the steps. Look at the evidence and decide sine, cos or tan. This one here, because that was those two, that's got to be tan. This one here, because it uses the opposite in the hypotenuse, it's got to be sine. So decide first, then write the statement. Now I'm going to rearrange, so the calculator one, let's have a look. There we go. Let's see if we can put this in. 55, the tan. And we're going to put 18 degrees. I'm going to do it this time because we've got minutes. 18 degrees. I'll just do that again. That's the degree button there. Degrees, 18 degrees, 35 and you press the degree button again. 18 degrees 35 minutes. I'll just do that again for you. 18 degrees 35, and press the degree button again. Close the brackets. Equals. There's our length, 1 decimal place it was, so 18.5. Equals W. So there you go. Now the only ones, there's one slight variation. I'll see if I can find it. There. H. That will apply to G as well. So I'm going to do H now. One last one. Let's just divide that off, because I think the approach is a bit different. Okay, so let's decide first. We've got an angle, we've got an opposite, and we've got a hypotenuse. That's angle, opposite, there's the opposite, opposite the angle, because that's the adjacent there, and that's opposite the right angle, so that's hypotenuse. Sine. So I'll write the statement. The sine of 52 degrees 24 minutes equals 46.78 over V. That's the opposite side. That's a hypotenuse. Now this one's a bit different because the unknown is in the bottom, the denominator. So when you do this one, let's see, this applies to one of these. G, when you do this, all you do is swap that for V. So the 46.78 stays. And now all of this goes down here instead of V. Sine of 52 degrees 24 minutes. So that's what happens when you've got the unknown in the denominator. And that's our calculator step. So remember that when a lot of these ones, the unknown ones on the top. But when it's in the bottom, we just swap the two around. So let's have a look what the calculator does. I'm going to do it the wrong way first, so you know. So all we want is 46.78 over the sine of 52 degrees 24 minutes equals. Oh, so okay, that's the wrong way. One simple step, but it's important. So just got to remember one thing, but at the end, 46.78 over the sine of 52 degrees 24 minutes. Press that degree button again and then close the bracket. 59, 1 decimal place, equals 59. There we go. That should help you with question 1.